Let me give a shout out to my friend Alyssa Deeds who posted this story 2 days after my birthday. And thank you guys, by the way, for the birthday wishes. I truly appreciate that. And I had a lot more people than I thought that actually emailed me this story, wanted to hear my opinion. And we are absolutely going to talk about this. So we're going to talk about these two individuals that you guys see on my screen and the little boy that you just saw as well. But let's go ahead and get into this. Let me give you guys a disclaimer if you've never been to my channel before. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. So I'm getting this particular story from not from Law Crime. Why do I always want to say that? From Alyssa Deeds. So shout out to Alyssa Deeds, my friend. You can check her out on alyssadeeds.com as well as Alyssa Deeds on Facebook. So we're getting this article from Facebook. So on July 30th of 2024, which is right before August, at 2:34 p.m. So make sure you guys take a look at these pictures. Police and firefighters were called to a mobile home community, as you guys can see on the screen. Get a lot of stories out of trailer park homes. I'm not against people who live in trailer parks. I'm just saying that we get a lot of stories out of the trailer parks. In the 2500 block of DeQuinn Road in Madison Heights, Michigan. So Michigan, y'all taking the L right here. A woman had called 911 to report that a young boy was not breathing. Upon arrival, officials say that they found the child unconscious and suffering from injuries all over his body. Okay, so not accidental. The boy was rushed by way of ambulance to Ascension Macomb Oakland Hospital and then transferred to Children's Hospital, where he ended up passing away from his injuries around midnight on July 31st, the day after the 30th. The victim was identified as 6-year-old Giovanni Chulo Jennings. It's either Kulo or Chulo. I think it's Chulo, C-H-U-L-O. I want to put some respect on his name, so however you pronounce it, that's what his name is. But that's the little boy that you guys just saw on my screen. Let me back it up just for a second. 6 years old. And I'm thinking about this. What did this boy do to deserve a fate like this? My answer is always the same. He didn't do a damn thing to deserve this. And I'm going to talk about these damn fools that you guys see on my screen, which I just wish that something would just come across just whoosh, real fast at 100 miles an hour right across the side of their face, lose some teeth, maybe break a jaw. But I digress. I'm not advocating for violence. It's just a thought. The mother, who's 25 years old, her name is Elena Rose Jennings, this stupid person on my screen, and her boyfriend. Let's get mom's boyfriend. Can we get a hashtag mom's boyfriend while we talk about this first story? Let me get mom's boyfriend thugging and mean mugging back up on the screen. There you go. Y'all ladies like that, don't y'all? Y'all think that's sexy, don't you? Like these fools that got tattoos all over the place, gang tattoos and throwing up gang signs and wearing iced out jewelry and toting guns and selling drugs and acting a fool, dreadlocks, all of that good stuff, right? That's cute, huh? And murder your children and sexually abuse your children and then whoop your ass, right? Ain't that usually what we talk about? We end up talking about domestic violence. Hashtag when you date thugs, you date death, which is an AFC hashtag. Yes. You ever hear anybody say that? Comes from here. This is where it comes from. I'm the source of that. Now, mom's boyfriend is 32 years old. His name is Daniel John Giacchina. Giacchina. Both of them were taken into custody. Giacchina, the boyfriend, was charged with possession of firearms, so I was right about the gun, by a prohibited person. Felony firearm violation which means he's probably a felon that shouldn't have had a gun. Shouldn't have had a gun. We'll get more mad at the gun than we do the thug with the gun, right? Ain't that the way it go in America? America. Bad guns. But the thugs are okay. Possession of ammunition by a felon and lying to a peace officer. Jennings was charged with lying to a peace officer. Madison Heights officials deemed the child's death suspicious and launched an investigation. And again, I told y'all, if it's mom and boyfriend or dad and girlfriend, I think they both need to be charged equally. When they spend equal time, they see equal things happening, and it ends up in the death of a child, I think they both need to be charged equally. We need stronger law provisions for that. Madison Heights officials deemed the child's death to be suspicious and launched an investigation. An autopsy by the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed that the little boy, smiling little boy right there, who wouldn't have done anything wrong to anybody, was murdered. And I want y'all to brace yourselves for this information. Where's my little disclaimer? Because this might turn y'all's stomach a little bit. See what that says? It says, warning, following content may contain, not saying that it does, but it may contain harmful or traumatizing information to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. So I don't want you guys crying about it. Cry for the little boy. Don't cry for the information. This boy died from blunt force trauma. He was beat to death. Blunt force trauma to his abdomen and a perforated bowel after a lengthy period of confinement and abuse. Let me say that again. A perforated bowel. Let me see if I can find a more technical definition of that. A gastrointestinal rupture is a hole in the wall of the gastrointestinal tract. Oh my God. The gastrointestinal tract is composed of hollow digestive organs leading from the mouth to the anus. So that means it sounds like he was probably stomped on, punched really hard, but just had some sharp, blunt force injuries. Jesus. Photos taken during the autopsy showed that Giovanni had bruising and lacerations on his entire body, including his scalp, temples, lips, inner mouth, cheeks, forehead, chin, shoulder, forearms, fingers, thumbs, back, his butt, inner thighs, knees, and shins. I always wonder, when I look at this picture of the mom, there's usually some family members that come out, will leave comments, they will email me, and they will talk about, I don't know what I'm talking about, I wasn't there, I didn't see what happened. And maybe I shouldn't be bashing their family member. I shouldn't be bashing the mother. They usually ain't got no problem with me bashing the boyfriend, but they usually don't like it when I bash the mother if the mother is a family member of theirs. Something that always comes to my mind when they do that is I'm always thinking, why is it that it's the first thing that they respond to me is they always talk about the adults, never the dead children. And there are sometimes they don't even bring the children up at all. Y'all don't think that's odd for a person's mentality to know that there is a underage child that can't speak for itself nor defend itself against the tyranny of its caretakers that is beat to death like you stuck him in a freaking blender or he was in a freaking car accident at 70 miles an hour. Tore this baby boy's body up. And that is not at the forefront of people's thoughts. I think that for those, and shout out to the AFC podcast people, shout out to y'all in the chat who leave comments and speak on this. Y'all do an amazing job. I am just saddened that this story hasn't spread. Why is this not viral? Why is this not a viral story? Why don't people care about this type of stuff enough? Let Nicki Minaj throw her pennies from performing on stage and hit somebody in the face, and all of a sudden that's national news. Guess what Nicki Minaj did at a concert, y'all? All the while, our young princesses and princes are being beat in silence, and their stories are never told. I'm going to tell you guys this. I hate when people come to my channel and just say, just tell the story. If you come to my channel to just hear the story, then you're in the wrong effing place. I'm not here to tell just the story. I have an opinion, I have solutions, and I have some words. We also advocate here. There are people who are currently being sentenced to prison time because of our channel. If that ain't what you're here for, then I'm not sure why you're here. Let's keep going before I get mad. Chulo, the little boy, had pervasive bruising to his abdomen, which was also bloated and distended. Oh my God. He had an apparent BB wound to his shin. I almost forgot about this. Well, I guess we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm not going to jump it. We'll get there. First responders and emergency room personnel noted extensive external injuries as well. He was shot with a BB gun. On August the 9th, a briefing was held to announce additional charges against Jennings and the boyfriend. Both are now facing charges of murder and first-degree child abuse in connection with Giovanni's death. Those charges are punishable by life in prison. That is what we are hoping to get for both of them. These charges were authorized after an intensive review of the evidence, which included cell phones, pictures, and items collected during search warrants. So they spent over 100 hours reviewing extremely disturbing videos and photos. My God, that probably means they probably recorded this. They probably thought this shit was funny. Y'all hear me? If y'all are not able to type in the chat, you just got to be subscribed to the channel for 10 minutes and then you can type. They probably recorded this, as well as text messages and Facebook chats describing horrific things that happened to this boy. Giacchina, the boyfriend, also had a pre-existing warrant for weapons-related offenses out of Madison Heights. Jennings and the boyfriend are still facing charges for lying to police, and the boyfriend is facing the above weapons charges. So I think they absolutely should be charged for lying as well. Prosecutors say that the little boy Giovanni Chulo, who McDonald referred to using his name Chulo, was confined to a pen in the bedroom that belonged to the boyfriend and the mom. He was beaten in the presence of his two younger siblings. Can we get a hashtag babies for benefits, please? Somebody. Anybody? Thank you for what we do. We need awareness. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. We do. Madison Heights is in Michigan. Yep, Michigan. This happened often in front of his own siblings. Giovanni, the little boy, was living at the home with his two younger siblings, Jennings and Giacchina, and Giacchina's grandmother. Oh, y'all not going to like this. Can I ask y'all a question? Can I just be honest with y'all for a second? For those who don't mind me being honest, I'm going to just tell y'all. I don't give a flying F who disagrees with this. I don't care if the grandma is senile or whatever. The fact that she was there and probably knew what was going on, saw something, didn't say anything, maybe even participated. I think they should have investigated her, and I think they should have arrested her old decrepit ass. Does anybody disagree with that? Am I being too mean? Am I being too harsh? Because grandma's an adult. She should know right from wrong at whatever age she is. Unless she's 113 years old. See, here's the thing. With them being, let me go back to their ages, 25 and 32, that means grandma was probably about 40 or 50. Y'all didn't think about that, did you? I could be wrong. I'm just guessing. She's not a suspect, but I'm just throwing it out there just as my thought. Grandma probably ain't that damn old. Grandma probably is able-bodied and able to be to hold down a job, probably just too lazy to do it. We're not talking about a grandmother. If the granddaughter is 25, how old would she be? She could be older, but I'm just saying the likelihood is that she's probably maybe my age, 40, 50, 60. I don't think she's 80 or 90. We'll come back to that. But grandma was there. When Jennings went to work, which is the mother, the little boy was often left with the boyfriend who also watched the two younger siblings and an unrelated 5-year-old. A lot of kids. Boyfriend is not a babysitter. Hashtag where's the biological father? You won't let the biological father be a father and give up custody, let him watch the kid while you go off into the sunset with your boyfriend, but you keep him because you want to keep the benefits that you get from that little boy and end up leaving him at the disposal of your boyfriend who don't give a damn about this little boy because he probably looked just like his dad, his biological dad, which is the man that you last slept with to make this child, theoretically. The little boy Chulo was beaten by mom's boyfriend on multiple occasions. While that abuse sometimes happened while Jennings was at work, the mother was at work, the mother was aware of it and approved of the physical assaults and at times even encouraged the boyfriend to abuse her own son. The abuse included physical violence, and thank y'all for hitting that thumbs up. I appreciate y'all supporting. Please hit that thumbs up if y'all are listening. The abuse included physical violence and assault, including what kind of discipline is this? This little boy was shot with a BB gun. Does that sound like, what do we call it? Does that sound like discipline? Or does that sound like torture? People try to make excuses all the time about spanking kids with belts, hitting kids, smacking them up. I was trying to get him right and make him go in the way that he should go and raise him to be a certain way so people agree with a lot of the physical violence that happens to kids. And I think that all physical violence towards children, regardless of whether you're trying to call it discipline, is bad. If you hit, spank, put any type of hand, feet, or object on children to correct their action is bad. Okay? I'm going to stand on that, and I'm going to always stand on that. I think you're a weak-minded person if you spank children because you parent from the mind, not from physical actions. Message. Let's keep going. For punishment, the little boy Chulo was confined to a pen in the corner of the boyfriend and Jennings' bedroom where he was left to try and sleep on a wooden slat measuring 11 inches by 36 inches. A black curtain was put in place so Chulo could not see out, and barricades were used to keep him in place. The boyfriend, Giacchina, brought home a security system and mounted a camera to a monitor, what the pair referred to as the corner, which was where the pen which is where the pen where they kept the boy, according to prosecutors. And I'm not sure if they're going to get to this, but I'm going to tell y'all here in just a second. Both mom and boyfriend will watch the video clips of Chulo misbehaving, which would include Chulo trying to urinate, drink, or leave the corner. She said that on July 26th, the boyfriend stapled the 6-year-old little boy Chulo, stapled the boy to a wall by his clothing to keep him confined in the corner and position his face to his head to face the wall. These damn idiots stapled a child to a wall. If you are that damn stupid, you need a life sentence if you think that that's okay to do. Since both of them thought that was okay to do, I think they both need a life sentence. I'm trying my best. I know some of y'all don't like my language sometimes, so I'm trying to mind my mouth. Stapled this boy to a wall. He texts the mom that he has solved the problem of keeping Chulo's face towards the wall, sending her a picture of Chulo stapled in the corner of the pen, stapled to the wall. The photo shows the shoulders of Chulo's shirt stapled to the edges of the corner in such a manner that Chulo's body, along with his head and face, were wedged into the corner of the wall. Both Jennings and Giacchino laughed about the photo and the boyfriend's use of the staple gun to solve the problem, according to the text. Chulo, the little boy, was being punished in this manner for looking out of the window in the pen area. Y'all hear me? This is exactly why so many people emailed me this story. I think probably about 10 people emailed me this. They laughed about it. When officers searched the home, they said that they found marks in the wall that matched the staple gun. They also found holes in the wall. They also found holes in the wall. It said ball, but holes in the wall that contain BBs from the BB gun. A staple gun, a BB gun, and a CO2 cartridge, which is what they use. That's the little air cartridge, the compressed air that it uses to shoot the BBs out, were among the items seized from the home. Police said that they also found a 9mm semi-automatic ghost gun with over 100 rounds of 9mm ammunition inside the home. What the hell is a ghost gun? Let me see if I can look that up. Oh, ghost guns are unserialized and therefore untraceable firearms that are put together by components purchased either as a kit or in separate pieces. I never heard of it referred to as that. A photo on the phone showed the boyfriend with his two young children who were handling the ghost gun and the BB gun. When you date thugs, you date death. Remember I said that. A photo on Jennings' cell phone from July 26 showed the two children who were both pointing a gun at the third child. The third child has his hands up, and the laser from the ghost gun was illuminating his hand. The boyfriend's 4-year-old brother was interviewed at Care House, a child advocacy center in Oakland County. He told interviewers that Danny had shot him in the leg with a BB gun and showed them his injury. He also said Danny shot Giovanni in the butt with a BB gun. The 4-year-old explained that on the day of Chulo's death, Chulo died all day and Danny was there. Wow. That's the words of a child, a little child. Said he died all day. And mom's boyfriend was there. Jennings said during her interview with authorities that about 3 days before Giovanni's death, the boyfriend had punched the boy in the abdomen several times. She told police that the punches caused Giovanni to vomit. Giovanni's condition worsened up until July 30th when Jennings said that she found him unconscious in the presence of the boyfriend. The mom admitted that she knew Chulo desperately needed medical attention, but she did not take him to the hospital because she knew that medical examination would reveal abuse that he was suffering. That's why I think that they both should get murder charges. That's premeditated. You had time to think about it. You've been doing this. You knew it could lead to murder, and it did eventually cause the boy's death. Now, I know you probably can't properly get a murder charge for it, but I wish you could. Mom and the boyfriend were both present and living in the home throughout the period of abuse. Giovanni's stepfather, Esteban Cabrera, recalls seeing his stepson badly beaten body at the hospital and said that he was unrecognizable. The last time he saw Giovanni was in March when Jennings moved his two stepchildren and their daughter out of their Southwest Detroit home. Think I can skip some of this? Cabrera's daughter, whom he shares with Jennings, is back in his care now. The original charges for lying to police stem from a plot to blame Giovanni's condition on the child's biological father. Isn't that something? Could have caused that man to lose his job and everything, potentially have to pay for lawyers, because y'all are over here choosing to do this. That's sad. The allegations are that Jennings falsely told police that she left Chulo with his biological father. Then when she went to work for that morning, and Chulo was uninjured prior to being with his father. Investigators arrested Chulo's father based on that information. Damn. They arrested him based on that information, but McDonald said they quickly learned that he hadn't been anywhere near Giovanni that day. Officials said that they realized that Jennings had provided false information. There is no evidence that Giovanni's father took part in the crimes. So yes, I think that they need about 5 extra years on top of that. Thank you, Kat. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. So they lied on the biological father. Yeah, and they arrested him. Could you imagine if they arrested this man at work? Probably. Sad. Further investigation revealed that the boyfriend and the mom conspired to falsely tell police that it was Chulo's biological father who was last with Chulo. Madison Heights Police Chief Brent Lemeries confirmed that the 3 people were arrested in this case, but the biological father was released. Jennings and Giacchino, the boyfriend, were arraigned Friday morning at 43rd District Court in Ferndale. They were denied bond and remained at the Oakland County Jail. A probable cause conference is scheduled for 11 a.m., which was about a week ago at the 43rd District. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If y'all would, do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. We want to try to have 1 thumb up for everybody watching. That is the easiest way to help us. It's just to simply click the thumbs up on the video that you're watching. So here we go, a couple news videos.
The mother of a 6-year-old boy and her boyfriend are facing first-degree murder and first-degree child abuse charges in connection to the boy's death. Now, we want to warn you, some of these details in the case are pretty disturbing. Elena Jennings and Daniel Giacchino are arrested last week for lying to police. Giacchino also faced gun charges related to being a convicted felon. Now, they're accused of severely abusing and regularly beating 6-year-old Giovanna Chulo Jennings. The boy died in the hospital last Wednesday from his injuries. In a press conference today, Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald says after sifting through the evidence, they can only describe what they found as, quote, horrific.
Chulo was confined to a pen in the defendant's bedroom. He was beaten. He was bound to the wall by using a staple gun to his close to the wall, which forced his face into a corner. He was badly injured, but he was not taken for medical treatment because his mother knew that a medical examination would reveal the abuse.
Both defendants were arraigned this morning and now are being held without bond. They face life in prison if convicted and are due back in court on August 21st.
But we begin tonight with what is being called one of the worst cases of child abuse and murder that prosecutors say they have ever seen. Thank you so much for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Simon Shayket. A 6-year-old boy's horrific death in Madison Heights now leading to charges. The community tonight left with many questions.
It happened on July 30th. The child's mother, Elena Jennings, and her boyfriend, Daniel Giacchina, are now facing murder and first-degree child abuse charges. We do have to warn you tonight, the details in this story may be quite disturbing to some viewers.
Today, I talked to the Oakland County prosecutor about allegations, a neighbor about how this has impacted the community, and the grandmother of the boyfriend about disturbing allegations surrounding the death of Giovanni Jennings, who was affectionately known to many as Chulo.
He was being punished in the bedroom.
How was he being punished?
I was told that he was put in the corner.
Why was this child being punished?
He was being real bad. I understand that he was being real bad to his brother.
Ann Nix lives here in the Ackles mobile home community off DeQuinder, the same place prosecutors say 6-year-old Giovanni Jennings suffered blunt force trauma to the abdomen and a perforated bowel after a lengthy period of confinement and child abuse.
When I was home the one day, I heard her reprimanding him, slapping him, with the belt.
Nix is adamant she was unaware. Prosecutor Karen McDonald charged her grandson, 32-year-old Daniel Giacchina, and the child's mother, 25-year-old Elena Jennings, with murder and first-degree child abuse until I told her. Did you see anything that made you think he was in danger?
No.
Photos taken during an autopsy in Wayne County revealed that Chulo had bruising and laceration on his entire body.
Police say a 911 call July 30th made by his mother led to him being found not breathing. He was pronounced dead a day later at the hospital.
Both Giacchina and Jennings would watch video clips of Chulo, quote, misbehaving, which would include Chulo trying to urinate, drink, or leave the corner.
Prosecutors say after initial charges of lying to police were filed, they discovered video evidence to show the boy was shot with a BB gun, confined to a bedroom wall using a staple gun, and that he began vomiting due to injuries.
Both Jennings and Giacchina laughed about the photo and Giacchina's use of the staple gun to solve, quote, the problem. The abuse involved physical violence and assault, including shooting at Chulo with a BB gun. For punishment, Chulo was confined to a pen in a corner of Giacchina's and Jennings' bedroom.
Prosecutors add the mother lied, telling police the boy was with his biological father, who was in no way involved in this. Jolene Zidlowski lives next door and tells me she's simply in disbelief. To know that he was confined, allegedly, to a bedroom,
Yep.
unable to leave.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. And to know that there was torture, that boy was tortured, that's unfathomable. How can a mother do that to their kid?
I discussed with him that being put in a corner for any great length of time was too much, was enough. It wasn't, and that he needed mental health.
Right now, those charged remain in jail without bond and will be in court for an upcoming hearing August 21st to bring you those latest developments. Carolyn?
So they did the court date already, so they got more time coming because we're still more than likely going to have to go through a trial.
And now to an horrific case of child abuse behind the death of an Oakland County 6-year-old. Tonight, the prosecutor is revealing the trauma Giovanni Jennings endured and the lies she says a couple of adults used to try covering it up.
The boy's mother, Elena Jennings, and her boyfriend are each charged with murder and child abuse for what the prosecutor says happened inside a home in Madison Heights. Will Jones is live with what was revealed today. Will.
Kimberly and Demond, what Giovanni Jennings allegedly endured is simply heartbreaking. I can't tell you how difficult it was to hear them detail some of these incidents that happened to this boy. Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald called it one of the worst child abuse cases that she's ever seen. So here's what we know. Investigators say 6-year-old Giovanni Chulu Jennings died from blunt force trauma to his abdomen and a perforated bowel after a lengthy period of confinement and abuse at a home in Madison Heights. They say Giovanni was bound to the wall by using a staple gun to his clothes, forcing his face into a corner. Investigators also allege the abuse included being shot with a BB gun. They say the boy's 2 younger siblings witnessed the abuse. His mom, Elena Jennings, and her boyfriend, Daniel Giacchina, are now charged with murder and first-degree child abuse. That's in addition to charges of lying to peace officer, which was filed last week. Investigators say the couple tried to blame the abuse on the boy's biological father after mom called 911 July 30th saying her son was unconscious. Investigators say Giacchino was responsible for the abuse, but mom was aware of it and even at times encouraged it. The couple allegedly shared laughs over the boy living a nightmare.
Both Jennings and Giacchino laughed about the photo and Giacchino's use of the staple gun to solve, quote, the problem. According to the text, Chula was being punished in this manner for looking out the window in the pen area.
The couple was arraigned this morning and they were denied bond. Coming up at 6, we're going to talk to the boy's stepfather. He is devastated after hearing what happened today and some of those details. He had no idea that this was going on. So we're going to go into a little more detail about their relationship and his reaction to those charges. But for right now, we're live in Detroit. Wilt Jones, Local 4.
Really just a horrific case. All right.
There's just no way to justify any of this. Stapling this boy, punching him, probably kicking him, stomping on him, ripped up his insides, shot him with a BB gun, starved him. It would be wrong if you did that to the devil himself. You don't do that to anybody. And for that and causing this boy's death, matter of fact, even if the boy would have survived this, I still think that they both deserved a life sentence. Y'all let me know what you think about this. Such a heartbreaking story. And more than anything, as hard and as difficult as it is to listen, I think that what that boy had to live through was way more difficult to live and die through what he went through compared to all we got to do is listen to it, share it, understand it, and prevent it. See something, say something. Don't forget that I said that if that grandmother, unless something is mentally wrong with her, she's not mentally competent, I think that she should probably be facing jail time too for not doing anything at all. She's not an innocent bystander. She's a grown individual. Thank you guys so much for listening to this story. Giovanni Chulu Prince, R.I.P. We hope to get a life sentence for both of them. Let's see that through. If you're in that town, if you're in that area, hope and pray for justice. If you get a chance to organize a march, make sure you let your elected officials know this is the time to vote. Vote the right people into office, man. Get to know your candidates. Know what their policies are. Know what they stand on. The people that you vote for are the ones, the judges, the prosecutors are the ones that are going to actually get justice. That's why voting counts. Please make sure you guys vote. Thank you. I had to really take my time with this story. Let me show y'all this picture real quick. I'm going to back it up. I thought this person that you guys see on my screen in this next picture, I thought these were 2 different people. Now, granted, you can see kind of where his hair is kind of reddish, but I really couldn't tell between this picture that looks like one person besides the thinning hair on the top, and then you look at this person, they just look like 2 different people. So I thought I might have had the wrong story. But nonetheless, I don't do a lot of stories out of Utah, but we're definitely going to talk about a story that is going to disturb the absolute hell out of you. Let me give you guys a disclaimer, and then I got to give you another disclaimer. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And we're getting this story from Fox 13now.com. So if you want to go back and verify this, you absolutely can. Let me give you guys another disclaimer because I'm trying to warn y'all. If you are sensitive, this story might bother you. Here's the disclaimer. YouTube, please don't demonetize my video. Please, I am begging you, YouTube algorithms. Okay? Content warning. The following video contains material or information, which is mainly information, that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. That is about as much of a disclaimer as I could possibly give you and tell you about what this man did that was absolutely dusting and disgusting to these children, okay? A man, and this is out of Roy, Utah. Y'all take an L. Roy, Utah. A man who pled guilty last week to killing a 2-year-old boy and abusing the boy's twin sister will spend the rest of his life in prison, and you're about to find out why. Brace yourselves. I'm trying to tell y'all it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. His name, let me get his face back up here, his stupid-ass face. This pedophile's name is Jonathan Allen Dunn. I can call him a pedophile because the case is already closed. He is 100% verified a goddamn pedophile. He is 37 years old and was arrested in December after the boy was found not breathing at a home in Roy, Utah. The toddler was taken to the hospital where he later died. His twin sister was also hospitalized with a brain bleed. Now, I'm wondering, what do you guys think that this man did that caused these babies to be so severely injured? Let me read this. This is important. I was a homeless, disabled Gulf War veteran, and California does not give a damn about the military and veterans who regularly evict on made-up-ish. Thank you so much for your donation and your support and your message. And I'm sorry, who was y'all governor? Who was running California and made that the case that didn't take care of veterans, which I think is flat out ridiculous. Our country needs to take care of all of our veterans. Thank you to all who have served. That's crazy. But thank you for your support. I appreciate that. Jonathan Allen Dunn, 37 years old. I guess you can call him Dung, D-U-N-G, even though it's D-U-N-N. I'm going to call him Dung. Was considered to be a close friend of the children's family. On August the 13th, he pled guilty to aggravated murder, 2 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a child, and 1 count of aggravated child abuse. Let's go back to the pictures of these babies. Do y'all see how small and tiny and defenseless these children are? Now, we had a story that went viral on my channel about a pedophile by the name, a father pedophile by the name of Austin Kamal Stevens. Y'all remember him? Who raped and murdered Zara Scruggs? That video has done numbers on my channel for a long time, and I even did an update recently, and people are still watching that video quite a bit more than any other video on my channel. This man did the exact same thing. Make this go viral. Shout out to Ms. V. Please make this video go viral. Share it everywhere you possibly can. 2 counts of sexual abuse of a child. 2 counts. The family did not find his statement believable. He said, "I'm sorry for what I've done, and it haunts me every day. I hope one day the family can forgive me for what I've done." And he said this at his sentencing. No, sir, there is no forgiving what you did until you meet your maker in hell. And even then, I hope that Satan don't forgive you, and I hope that there is a special place in hell for you and your soul. Jonathan, you are the epitome of evil, and our family will never forgive you for the damage you have done and the evil acts you have performed to these sweet, innocent babies, said Kari Miller, who was the toddler's aunt. Charging documents state on the night of December 20th of 2023, Dunn was babysitting the pair of 2-year-olds. We can stop right the F there. I want y'all to look at this. He just has the face of a pedophile. Look at him. I'm trying to tell y'all better start judging a book by its cover. If it walks like a pedophile, looks like a pedophile, guess what? Don't leave your children around them. Why are y'all refusing to use daycares? Actual caretakers, because it's expensive? Yes. Having children is expensive. It always has been and always will be. If you cannot afford to give your children a proper babysitter or caretaker or daycare, then you should not be a parent and you should have kids if you're constantly trying to cheapo depot your way through life. There is no reason why this man who just looks like he would sexually assault a cactus if he could shouldn't be watching anybody's kids. He just looks like the type of person that on Groundhog Day, as soon as the groundhog leaves that hole, he probably trying to stick his junk up in it. It's just sometimes just people just look like they're not suitable for you to watch their kids, to be around their kids, just nothing at all. Don't say hi to my kid. Don't, hey, can I hold your baby? No, dude. No, you can't. It's okay to say no sometimes. He was babysitting, allegedly. He told police the next day in an interview that he was playing a game with the toddlers, but he began punching them. He hit them harder than he should have, according to the arrest report. He said he also pinched them hard, threw them on the bed repeatedly while they cried, hit them in the head with the butt of a Nerf gun, and pushed them into a door frame on which they hit their heads. Family friend, huh? I'm going to add this in there also. Y'all, please hit that thumbs up if you're watching this, because the more y'all hit the thumbs up, the more it shares these videos and the more we stand a chance that we might be able to spread this story and go viral. More people can see it. More people can know what actually happened to these babies. I'm going to call the parents out, and I know they're not going to like that if they see this video. Yes, I said a cactus. He looks like he would have sex with a cactus. He looks that fucking stupid. Look at his stupid ass face and tell me he don't look like the type. If you told me he was into bestiality, oh, I would believe it 100%. Let me get on to the parents. How much of a family friend is he, and how well did you know him? Have y'all ever hung out with this man, had conversations with this man, ever heard this man tell a joke, know about his upbringing? What do you actually know about him? Did you vet him? Did you do a background check on him? Where did he go to school? Where is he from? Who was he raised by? What is his beliefs? What religion is he? What do the parents actually know about this man at all for them to say, yes, we're going to absolutely 100% unfettered trust you with our small, innocent, defenseless little babies? If you ask me, as much as y'all want to get mad about what I say, That's how serious you need to take it. I don't think that they can come up with an excuse great enough to tell me where I'm wrong about the fact that they didn't properly vet him. And guess that's a shot at the damn parents. This fool gave them the children medicine the night before going to bed. The next morning, he said that the boy was wheezing, so he gave him more medicine. Later that morning, he said the boy stopped breathing, and that's when he called 911. Let me tell y'all something. He don't look like a doctor to me, and he probably don't look like he could read a prescription. This man looked like he would have trouble reading his own fucking name. I believe that he probably was giving these children medication to drug them up for what he was trying to do to these little babies sexually. Hello. Is that traumatizing enough for you? And for those who can't type in the chat, you got to be subscribed to the channel for at least 10 minutes. Let me know what y'all think about this. Am I throwing stones? Am I just throwing stuff against the wall to see if it's going to stick? He probably was giving them medication the same way that men, vile men, not all, vile men who are looking to take advantage of a woman sexually to try to drug her up. That's what that sounds like to me. On the evening of December 21st of 2023, our family received the worst news that you could possibly ever receive, said Miller. Police said that there was also evidence of sexual abuse to both children, the boy and the girl. While everybody wants to think that these pedophiles only attack little girls, it is about a 50-50 chance that pedophiles want either one. They want your boys and your girls. They just want children. They want small children to take advantage of any child that they can get their hands on. So don't turn a blind eye to your boys. There was evidence of sexual abuse. This is not a mistake. This is not an accident. This was not anything other than intentional depravity, said Judge Noel S. Hyde, and I agree. There are no words that can adequately describe the level of depravity that this circumstance evokes. A letter from the surviving siblings' therapist was read aloud in court, who said that the young girl suffers from nightmares and now hits herself in the head. Lord have mercy. Oh my God. Pray for these babies. Jesus. As indicated by her therapist, we will never know the full effect of that brain trauma. This is not Dunn's first time of being convicted of child abuse. You remember when we talked about checking a background and doing a background check when I said that the family didn't properly vet this man? I repeat, according to Fox13now.com, this is not Dunn's first time being convicted of child abuse. Not his first time being convicted on record of child abuse. In 2017, which wasn't that long ago, he was sentenced to prison for breaking into his then-girlfriend's, for breaking his then-girlfriend's child's arm. He broke his girlfriend's baby's arm. He was discharged in December of 2021. And you mean to tell me that before y'all let this man babysit y'all child, y'all didn't at least do a background check, look him up? You didn't give a shit, did you? No, you didn't. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Well, I know the parents ain't going to be happy about me saying that, but again, I think y'all need to hear it. You deserve to hear that, because there's no way that you just let some family friend watch your kids in the climate that we're in. Like, this stuff has been going on forever and a day. I've had a number of my videos that a lot of people have seen, maybe even the parents have seen videos similar to mine, true crime. This is why y'all need to share these videos, because people just act like, oh, they don't know, they don't show, and they don't see what goes on in these abuse cases with children. I believe that they know. They know the risk, and they ignored the risk. Family friend my ass. Y'all do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. And I got a couple of news videos that I want y'all to hear from. I actually shortened this up quite a bit, so shout out to Law and Crime. Thank you very much. And I'm going to show just a little bit of their video.
This is 2-year-old Alistair, a young boy living in Roy, Utah, just 30 minutes north of Salt Lake City. Alistair and his twin sister were in the custody of this man, Jonathan Dunn, in 2023. Dunn was a family friend, even considered an adopted uncle by the twins' parents. But Dunn had a dark past, one that showed up again on December 21st of last year. Just after 10 o'clock that morning, police were called to a home on the city's north side. When emergency responders arrived, they on December 21st.
Look at this. Now, I know I'm being a little bit dark here, but y'all look at that horse. I'm pretty sure that that horse was sexually violated by this man. I'm sorry, but when I see this and know that he rapes little babies, this is what I think of. He probably also sexually assaulted that horse too.
First of last year. Just after 10 o'clock that morning, police were called to a home on the city's north side. When emergency responders arrived, they found 2-year-old Alistair on the front porch, and he wasn't breathing. The toddler was rushed to McKay-Dee Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Investigators later revealed that Alistair was found with several visible injuries to his face and body, and there were injuries on Alistair's twin sister too. Both twins had signs of abuse on their faces, heads, and genitals. The little girl was later hospitalized for a brain bleed. Almost immediately, investigators zeroed in on Dunn, who originally said Alistair had fallen from the couch, and that's why he called 911. But Dunn's story quickly changed, and the truth came out. Dunn admitted to throwing both twins onto the bed when they were crying, which may have injured them. But the real abuse came in the form of a sick game Dunn forced the twins to play. Dunn said as part of the game, he, quote, began to punch the male and female repeatedly in the back and sides and chest. Dunn even admitted he was hitting the children harder than he should have. But Dunn made another bombshell revelation too, that he sexually assaulted both 2-year-olds, pinching them in their genitals. After this abuse, Dunn gave Alistair Tylenol and cough medicine. He gave his sister a children's sleep aid before calling 911.
Y'all hear this?
He was eventually charged with aggravated child abuse, aggravated sexual abuse of a child, and aggravated murder in the death of 2-year-old Alistair.
Oh, this is one of the most disturbing cases I have ever seen. We talk a lot about different types of cases here, and there's very often no explanation that you could conjure up as to how this happened and why. This is one of those cases that hits the very top of the list for me of just absolute terror and not understanding how this could have happened, and just so much sympathy for the family here.
To understand this story, we reached out to criminal defense attorney Serena Townsend, who's also a former sex crimes prosecutor. If we're taking a closer look at the details of this really gruesome crime, we know that the defendant in this case was a family friend. Actually, some of the articles refer to him as an adopted uncle who had taken in these kids and was entrusted with watching them and protecting them. To me, that screams the ultimate betrayal, a family friend watching your children. What do you make of that?
I hate to say that it's surprising or rare, but the truth is, I'm a former sex crimes prosecutor. The majority of the cases that I prosecuted, the defendant and the accused was somebody known to the family. Oftentimes, it actually was an uncle or an adopted uncle, if you will, a close family friend. It is actually way more common than I think people realize for the perpetrator to be not just known, but well known and trusted by the family. And it's heartbreaking when something like that happens, but not as rare as we would hope.
So in talking about that, the perpetrator being really close to the family, does that kind of give them a leg up, so to speak? I mean, they have access to these children, they're gaining the trust of these children, and there's someone who these children would never assume would do something bad to them. Does that kind of make things easier for them to get away with these crimes?
Absolutely, because everything that you just said is so true. The access, the trust, the ability for them to come and go as they please. And then also keep in mind, especially with children, a lot of times the children do not tell anybody, right? Children feel like adults are always right. And so they won't necessarily outcry and tell anybody. But now picture a child being molested or sexually abused by an uncle or a trusted person. Then it's exponentially harder to expect a child to actually tell anybody, because we all know that when that happens, a child thinks, oh, my parents are not going to believe me, or I'm going to get in trouble. They trust him. They like him. It's really so sad, because you know that he was able to take advantage of that fear.
The shocking details of the crime are almost worse because of the victims' ages. Sexual assaults of any kind are horrific for anyone to have to endure, but this one is almost another level because the two twins were 2 years old. I mean, they were toddlers. I am not a former sex crimes prosecutor, which is why I came to you for this case. Is this something that we see, that toddlers are sexually assaulted?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because even my previous point of telling people doesn't even exist here. So he took advantage of a child, a baby, who can't even really say what happened. That makes things, it's interesting. It makes things a lot harder, right? Because you don't have somebody to say, here's what happened, when it happened, how it happened. Those are all very important things for a prosecutor to be able to prove. They have to prove every element of the charge. Usually 9 times out of 10, they do that through the survivor themselves. That being said, on the flip side, it's interesting because in order to be able to prove that case, they obviously would have to get different types of evidence, right? Maybe there was a witness, or there's forensic evidence, scientific evidence, serological evidence like DNA, things like that. And oftentimes, a jury is more willing to believe that type of evidence because it doesn't lie, right? It's proof, it's scientific, hard evidence, rather than a person saying, no, he did it. Sadly, we see that children are so often critiqued by jurors because they sometimes feel like, well, maybe they're exaggerating, or maybe it's just a figment of their imagination, or they're easily manipulated. And so sometimes when you don't have that person to be able to testify, your proof is sometimes even more compelling.
This story is especially gruesome and unfortunately is one of many we cover here on Law and Crime. But the reason we're able to bring you these stories...
Thought I skipped that part. Let me skip ahead just a little bit.
...too, which again is another red flag. I'm kind of confused about all of this. How would he be able to have custody of these 2 children if he had a child abuse conviction?
He absolutely should not have. However that conviction played out, first of all, obviously these children were not even born in 2017. So all of this happened after he was convicted. Some convictions, if they're low level enough, do not require the person to have to register as a sex offender, interestingly enough. Some low level misdemeanor sex offenses like forcible touching, at least in New York where I practice, low level sex abuse where it's a misdemeanor level rather than a felony level. There's certain types of cases like that where if you take a certain plea, you avoid having to register as a sex offender. So I wonder if what he was convicted of, he was able to avoid doing that. And maybe that red flag was not as bold and bright to the judicial system who gave him custody of these children. Although, you would hope that a judge or our government would look into everything in the past, not just the final conviction, but all of the history before granting access to children after he abused other children.
So we know Dunn had a history of child abuse and even a conviction, but Alistair's death brought Dunn's depravity to a new level. So we've talked about the horrific nature of these sexual assaults, but in addition to that, there's also murder on the table in this case. Unfortunately, one of the twins passed away as a result of his injuries. Is that something that we often see, sex crimes that lead to murder?
I hadn't seen that as often as just, not just, but the sex crime itself. This is just the saddest, most awful result here. We do see sexual acts being committed against very young children, babies. It's really the worst thing ever, but now you add murder on top of it. It is horrific. He must have just done the worst things ever to this poor baby, and to not be able to survive it, I mean, he deserves the sentence that he got, or maybe worse, honestly.
The abuse that resulted in Alistair's death and his sister's brain bleed happened in December of last year. Just this month, Dunn pleaded guilty to his charges: 2 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a child, 1 count of aggravated child abuse, and 1 count of aggravated murder.
My thoughts about this. This is why I believe in the death penalty. Again, my closing thoughts. This is exactly why, and I've told people this, and I'm glad that the AFC, y'all actually will repeat this, and I'll see y'all talk about this because y'all know that I say this. People who hurt, murder, or abuse children, especially when they violate them sexually, cannot be rehabilitated and brought back into our society. I think that should be a one and done thing. If they do that, they should never be allowed in our society. They should not be allowed to parole. They shouldn't be given a second chance. They should never be able to see children, their own children, any children ever again. And I'm just saying, like, if you could qualify the death penalty for anything, I think that sexual abuse of a child should always come with the death penalty. Bottom line, may your whole ass soul rest in peace, bitch boy. Okay? To these babies, to the one that passed away, R.I.P. To the other baby, please keep these children in your prayers. Please, please, please. To the parents, I meant every word that I said. Y'all didn't vet this man at all. Could have found it on his record. Shouldn't have ever been allowed to watch children or be around anything that has a heartbeat. Thank you guys so much for listening with an open mind as well as an open heart. Thank you. Let's go to our next.